Welcome back to Gear Check Games. This is part 18 of our Pokemon Red playthrough. Today we're going to go a little off the beaten path.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go any further off the beaten path than we did last episode.
Yeah, that might be. Might want to dial it back a little bit. Try to keep it a little more sensible, a little more. Well, at least like a facade of professionalism.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, not necessarily content-wise, but like, I'm not gonna go fight any gym leaders this part.
I love Trey. I love that both of us got up in the middle of the part last time,
dude. Insanity ensued last episode.
Can you imagine if this is somebody's first Gear Check Games video and it just opens up, hey, remember that time when we recorded the last video and just left in the middle of it? Boy, that was some...
Inside baseball, my future roommate barged in and was like, yo, what's up?
Yo, what's up? I need you now!
Pretty much.
My ISP does not approve of me making these videos, apparently.
Yeah.
Because my internet went out again!
My roommate actually works for your ISP?
No. It can't...
Joe's ISP is, it's like the grandmas that thought Pokemon was the devil.
Oh, yeah. Or that one televangelist guy who has that hilarious speech.
Oh, yeah. Pokemon are sent from the devil. They're from the Kabbalah.
There's one point where he's talking about how Pokemon are demons or something, and the visual aid of like his PowerPoint, it just shows a big picture of Jigglypuff.
Aww. One of the sweetest Pokemon.
Don't let your children be suckered in by their cruel wizardry.
It shows like an edit of a scene from the anime where like Jigglypuff puts someone to sleep and then draws an upside down cross on their forehead.
Oh my god. I guess he was right all along.
Last time during all the chaos, do you guys remember me talking to one of Professor Oak's aides?
Yeah, the EXP All guy.
Yeah. Something got in my brain where I was like, I want it. I forgot what it was like.
Oh god.
So for the next 3 parts, we're going to be catching Pokemon.
Oh my god. Well, this is certainly going to be a unique Let's Play of Pokemon Red.
Yep. I wasn't really paying attention to the bottom text for like what you were fighting.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't really have the context, so I just looked at the screen and I saw our Dratini toss a black square at the enemy Pokemon, and then it turned into a Dratini, and I'm just like, what is going on?
The chaos has invaded the game.
It's spreading.
You know, one thing that just occurred to me, you said you're going to be catching all these Pokemon in order to get the EXP All. One feature they added in X and Y that I really appreciate is that you now get experience after you catch a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I think they added that, yeah, in X and Y.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think some of the quality of life features of that game took it a little bit too far for me, but that's one that, like, I will unequivocally support.
Oh, yeah. Well, that kind of goes more into, like, D&D type of logic. Like, almost everything you do can potentially give you experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like...
Well, depends on the DM.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, only defeating it. It's not even like a party. I was in a D&D campaign where I was like the team support, but the DM was running it so that like, if you only get experience if you like landed the killing blow on a monster.
Kidding me?
And so it's just like, all right, I guess I'm just like not leveling up ever.
How's anybody supposed to level up?
That's League of Legends logic right there.
So the party like barbarian was just gonna be like super buff and way ahead of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately we were just like, yo, so this is kind of dumb, like in the second session. And he was like, all right, I'll concede.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So you're going to see me use the Pokedex a lot to try to figure out where things actually are located.
Well, I guess this is one element of Pokemon we haven't really talked about yet. is the whole like
Yeah.
collection aspect of it. Because I mean, the original slogan was "Gotta catch 'em all."
Catch 'em all.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jinx.
which they quickly abandoned
Not yet. Not
because
yet.
it was getting ridiculous after like 2 games.
Oh yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all. And then like there's an asterisk that says within reason.
Yeah,
I mean, that's basically the purpose of Sword and Shield. They're like, we literally don't think you can catch them all anymore.
uh-huh.
Catching
Them all is no longer safe for your health.
Yeah. I mean, some people make like YouTube careers out of that, which I mean,
Uh-huh.
good on them for trying to make living Pokedexes, but also they're madmen.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see the appeal in that, but I mean, it's a very, very small percentage of people, I think, who are like, I have to have every single Pokemon.
Yeah.
I tried to catch them all in Gen 1 until I realized that trading evolutions was a thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
No, it's just like, never mind.
yeah. Honestly, I think the 2-version model needs to go away.
That
Yeah.
too.
Like, it is... Like, initially, it was a cool idea. Like, just the idea of, like, having, like, commodities that were exclusive to each game that you could, like...
yeah.
You had to trade with somebody else to get. Like, that was neat initially. But when they introduce, like, the GTS into it, it's just like... I just want to use the Pokemon that I like, you know? Like, why
Yeah.
do I have to... It just seems so arbitrary now.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
this-
brought up the whole like games being designed so that things are only, I guess, like they expect you to use outside resources to progress or like get something, and then we just totally moved on to a different subject.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have some
But yeah,
thoughts?
I've never been a fan of that. I don't know. I think every game. I mean, obviously there are exceptions. Like if there's a little game that was specifically made to be like, this is how you play it. But like, I feel like there's just too much. Like, you know, not everyone has access to those resources. Not everyone has friends that also own the game. Like some
Yeah.
people just like live in a small town or don't like have the internet or stuff like that. And it just kind of sucks for them.
Well, yeah, and I think games like that don't tend to, like, be looked on as favorably by subsequent generations. Like, the example I brought up
Yeah.
was the original Zelda, and, you know, that game certainly has, like, plenty of fans, and it's even more certainly has its place in history. But, you know, a lot of people, myself included, find the game a little difficult to go back to because, you know, you just don't have the same, like, context that you had when it was, like, the hot game back in the day, and, like, everybody was playing it and talking about it, and, like, you could feasibly, like, figure out what to do by talking to your friends, or at least I imagine,
Yeah.
you know, it would have been easier. But nowadays, like, who are you gonna ask for advice on, like, what bush to burn, or what wall to bomb? And the answer is the internet, and how... Boy, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's like it's a cool idea on paper when you think about it with like a limited scope. Like, oh yeah, kids are just gonna talk about it with their friends. Like this is before the internet was like really big, and then, but then the reality is like, oh, all right, it's just needlessly esoteric, and people are gonna have to look on the internet, and that's not really like I mean, obviously, people have their own tastes, but I don't find having to like look something up on the internet fun.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like it kind of dirties the experience.
But yeah, when the process of procuring that information isn't fun, like that's where. But I mean, that wasn't the intent of the designers. Obviously, it wasn't really like future proofed in that way, and I don't really
Yeah.
fault them for that. I mean, this was still in like the infancy of video games, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also like kind of. I guess it's like a thing that, you know, I'm also usually not a huge fan of game like design decisions in games that kind of necessitate it to be like in a specific window of time or whatever.
Mhm.
Like obviously there's only so much you can do with like online play or whatever, but like, you know, there obviously the thing with Zelda 1 being like not future proofed, like for when the internet came out or whatever. That's like, you know, understandable and all that.
Well, yeah, they didn't even
but
know the
there's
internet
also
was
an issue of like, yeah, there's also an issue of like, what if you were the kid? Like, what if you just didn't get the game when it was all the rage with everyone? What if you got it a little bit later and no one really cared about it or talked about it anymore?
And you were unfortunate enough to live in the U.S. where the translation was like borked. I mean, it's not as it's not as bad as like Simon's Quest or something, but it's pretty bad.
There's no Ralph Belmonts in this game.
No. Well, there's no Ralph Belmonts in Simon's Quest either. He's in 3.
Oh.
Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of like a lot of things need to line up for it to actually match what the developers intended to be like the perfect experience. Because you gotta be like, it's not fun to look it up on the internet. It's not really fun to just like hear it from somebody who's already played through the game and knows everything. And like, you kind of just have to, you have to get the game, and your friends have to also have gotten the game, or like your classmates or whatever, around the same time, and you're like working through it at the same pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is banking on like a very specific situation. But like, I do remember, you know, I'm sure you guys also remember when you were in school and playing games for the first time, like that was a thing that you did. It's just that the games that we grew up with weren't necessarily as reliant on that as some of like the older adventure games that like people in the 80s had. Man, this has got to be like insufferable to listen to for anyone who actually grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like we're speculating about like an ancient civilization or something.
Yeah. I mean, like, even when I was a kid and like I had friends that played video games, a lot of the time we didn't play like the same video games at the same time.
Yes! I love this one!
Oh, there you go.
I did it for you, yo.
Thank you. Trey, I could kiss you.
This music is so much louder than the game audio.
Yeah, for good reason. It's amazing.
I put this music here because I kind of got like lost or trying to figure out where I was going. Because I wanted to catch more Pokemon, but I was like, where do I go next?
Sad crap.
We need to catch another Krabby.
Yeah.
It's not nearly... Oh, are you going for a Kingler?
I think I'm going for Vileplume for the catch quest.
Wait.
It's like,
Are you fishing for a Vileplume?
Well, I'm fishing because I knew that Oddish could kill water things really fast.
Oh, you're grinding. Sorry. Once again, I failed to pay attention. I was distracted by Miyazaki.
Do you see how many times it takes me to just get something on the line? That's one of my least favorite things about the fishing rod.
I'm sorry, did it say you hooked the Goldeen? Not a Goldeen, the Goldeen.
It's the only one.
Yeah, it's Misty's Goldeen. Goodbye, Tentacle.
She's just out for a swim, and like you hooked her Pokemon.
Hey, Ash! Because that's how she sounds.
Sucked health from the enemy Tentacruel.
Yeah.
No, Misty sounds like this. She slaps you.
Oh yeah!
But only in the Japanese version.
Or she throws a charred bike at you. So, I am a little sad, since I picked Bulbasaur, I don't get to use Gloom as my Grassmon. Because that's probably my favorite Grassmon family outside of Bulbasaur Engine 1.
Yeah, Vileplume's pretty usable. I've never used one myself. Like, okay, I've never taken one to like the Elite Four, but like stat-wise,
Vileplume was my Grassmon for Fire Red.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I loaded up with status effect moves.
Oh yeah. Isn't she a little punchier too than like she's more of a glass cannon than Venusaur?
I think I have no idea what the stats were.
I think
I'd give it
Vileplume
like Sleep Powder, Paralysis Powder, Mega Drain, and like one other like status move. I think like Poison Powder or something.
I think Vileplume has, I think it has higher defense than Venusaur, but like lower HP and speed. I could be wrong though.
Because I remember Victreebel being pretty fast.
Yeah. Victreebel I actually have used all the way to the end. Oddly, in Silver version, I had a Victreebel.
Nice.
And I couldn't evolve it until Kanto, because there are no evolution stones in Johto.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, then you have to go show Bill all those Pokemon on his list to get the evolution stones, and you only get one.
Yeah, Bill's deadbeat grandpa.
That's one thing I'll give Gen 3. Like, you don't get the stones to late game, but you can find multiples of each shard to give to the...
I like how you're just waiting around on the screen for, like, a full minute, and then it's just like, take your time.
I think...
Trey, you should have just put, like, a slow zoom on that text. Oh, he's taking his time.
There's several moments like that in this playthrough where I don't know if I was checking my phone, or if I was looking at a guide, or looking at Cerebi. I just
what
paused.
stone to use on Vileplume? Or Bloom, sorry. I still love that sprite.
I know.
I know.
Say, top of that morning to you.
Yeah.
Hey, look who it is!
He's back! Briefly. He's about to become. He's about to become his best self.
Yeah.
Do you think the I feel like I was gonna mention it in one of the first episodes, but I didn't end up doing it. But I feel like Pikachu using the overworld sprite for Clefairy is like a holdover from when like they were originally intending for Clefairy to be like the mascot of the series. Mm-hmm. Like how I think in the manga, it's like in the manga or the early manga, the main character, I don't know if it was Ash or someone else, had a Clefairy companion that like talked.
There was like I think there was like another like version of the manga. It wasn't like Pokemon Adventures, but it was like it was just like another Pokemon manga series where Clefairy was like played a bigger role. But yeah, I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did narrow it down to like Clefairy and Pikachu as to like what Pokemon is going to be the mascot of the series, and I feel like they made the right choice.
Oh yeah. Just look at Pikachu. He's like incredibly marketable, even when he was chubby.
Yeah, I don't know if the well, I was going to say I don't know if the just the like pink puffy look would have really like had as wide of an appeal.
Well, yeah, because Pikachu.
But then I remember we've got Kirby.
Well, right, but Kirby has like a different kind of appeal. Like Kirby is just like you're more like what am I trying to say?
Clefairy is like very overtly like girly, I guess. Yeah. Whereas Kirby is very just like round and neutral.
Well, yeah, Kirby I think has more potential for like fun and comedy than like Clefairy is more. There's less versatility to that design, whereas with Kirby, it's I don't know. He's just like a circle with eyes. But Pikachu, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, for a character that wasn't designed to be the mascot of a series, like they really nailed that design, because Pikachu has a very nice balance of like cute and cool elements to it.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a situation where like the design team or whatever decided like, okay, we want Clefairy to be the mascot, but then like one of the artists was like, I've got my original Pokemon that I want to be the mascot, and I'm gonna pour like all of this fucking passion into designing this Pokemon because I love it.
Possibly. I mean, I've heard some people theorize that like the thought process was along the lines of, well, what Pokemon is Ash gonna have? Well, we can't have him pick one of the starters, because then like every kid will want that one, and like they won't like choose based on their own preferences. But it has to be like a Pokemon you can get in the early game that like somehow stands out from the others. And I'm guessing that's probably why they narrowed it down to like Clefairy and Pikachu. Because both of those Pokemon are like the rare, elusive Pokemon in like their respective early game dungeons.
Yeah.
So that'd be my guess. Oh, it's back.
Yeah.
God damn it.
More slap bass. Every chance I get,
What's the deal with this music?
Where did it come from? Who made it?
I hope my mic's not picking this up. This is kind of loud.
Right, I do apologize
I
for
love
the
the
volume.
samples in this song.
I almost
so I think I'm
like I've listened to this soundtrack more times than I can count, and my guess is that a lot of these, and this is just a game theory, so take it with a grain of salt. But you listen to a lot of the songs, and like the synth is so bad that I almost wonder if like the whole thing wasn't meant to be orchestrated, and what made it into the soundtrack was just like the demo versions that they didn't get around to. I mean, and again, I am not at all saying the Pokemon anime has bad music. It has some of my all-time favorite music. It might be like my favorite music, but like some of those synth samples are pretty crap. Yeah.
Hey man, but the music itself, like you said, is pretty stellar.
Well, yeah, when it's good, it's like yeah, stellar. That's a good word.
Which I still have yet to put the Team Rocket theme in here. I'm waiting to drop it. It's like the golden nugget of this soundtrack.
We've already beaten the Team Rocket base.
Yeah.
Still waiting to drop it.
Well, yeah, we're not playing Yellow, so we can't play it when Jesse and James appear, as it should.
Oh, that's true. I know. I really wish there was like a 8-bit version of that song they would have inserted.
That would have been amazing. But apparently, licensing. Yeah. Well, okay. My theory. Well, there's a lot of theorizing going on in this episode. So sorry for that. But like, what I would guess is that, just based on what I know, because apparently, the Pokemon anime, both under 4Kids and TPCI, it only keeps about half of the original score, due to the cost of like licensing that music. Apparently the music is like separate from the show, so they have to pay like another fee to use like what music they do.
That's so complicated.
So I'm guessing, well, because it's associated with like the TV studio and not like the Pokemon company.
Yeah.
Or whoever like Shinji Miyazaki's record label is. So I'm guessing that's why they didn't use the Team Rocket music in Yellow, is because it would have been more expensive.
They probably made that money back in Yellow version. Didn't it sell better than Red and Blue?
Well, if there's one thing we've learned over the years about the Pokemon Company, is that there's no corner cutting measure too big.
Yeah. So what I'm doing in this part is, like you saw earlier, I'm still trying to level up all these small Pokemon just to get them to evolve to count for the Pokedex. But I'm also clearing out some of the routes too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wasn't able to talk to you guys when Flappy finally evolved. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is probably good because I don't really have anything to say about it.
So Joe, is it Pidgeot or Pidgeot?
Depends on where in the world you live. Actually, no, I've heard both of them in like the English dub of the anime.
Oh.
In the same dub of the anime.
I guess he evolves Pidgeotto?
Well, he does. Yeah, Pidgeotto ends up evolving in like the last episode it appears in.
Oh.
And then it's one of those situations where Ash is like, I'll come back for you someday if the writers want me to. And I guess the writers spoke.
Man, he used Pidgeotto a lot too. He was like a MVP of Ash's team for a while.
But we had to make room for the shiny Noctowl that he caught in Johto.
Oh yeah. So stat-wise, is Noctowl kind of like Fearow, like since he's just a 2-stager, or is he actually really good?
Noctowl is weird. It's like it's more defense and like special based. Like it's tankier than any of the Gen 1 birds. But it's also not nearly as like offensively oriented, but it also gets like more status-based moves like Hypnosis.
Oh yeah, he's like utility.
Or like Foresight and stuff. Yeah, it's a weird Pokemon. I've never really figured out how to use one.
Lost. Get lost.
It also doesn't help that if
Oscar award-winning dialogue.
He should have said Scram.
It's now our turn to get Butterfree.
I'm okay, Dad.
Wait, he didn't learn Confusion. Why didn't he learn Confusion? What the shit? Wait, does he learn Confusion at like level 12?
I think so.
Oh.
I'm frustrated. I had something to say, but I forgot what it was, because I interrupted myself with Bobby Hill.
He's just now figuring out that Pokemon can fight each other.
It's okay, Joe.
Oh yeah, I remember what it was. It was about Noctowl. I've never used a Noctowl because it's a flying type in the same generation as Crobat.
Ooh,
And I just can't resist that Crobat.
Did we have a Noctowl for a little bit in our Gen 2 playthrough?
Yeah, Brown Sprout.
Yeah, Brown Sprout.
Because...
We caught it outside the Bellsprout Tower.
Yeah.
We were like, wow, that's a weird looking Bellsprout.
Wait, can you catch Noctowls in there?
No, you it was because we were fighting one of like the monks on like the top floor. Because everything up to that point, all of the trainers' Pokemon are just Bellsprouts, and then they randomly throw out a Hoot Hoot.
Oh yeah.
Weird looking Bellsprout. Hence Brown Sprout.
Wasn't that to make it like a little harder if you picked Chikorita for the tower?
Well, or if you pick... Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Chikorita really is hard mode at the beginning of that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you gotta fight a flying guy and then a bug guy. Like, good luck.
Well, at least you can pick up the Onyx from that trainer who wants to trade with you in Violet City before you go in there.
That's true. Just don't level them past 10.
If you're really worried about those Hoot Hoots.
Yeah. Hopefully you leave him at level 9 though, so he'll actually, obey you.
Yeah.
Hard.
Here's a question for you guys. We were talking about the Pokedex earlier. Have any of you guys ever completed a regional Pokedex, or otherwise?
Well,
I tried, but then trading Pokemon and version exclusive Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm not in that specific time area where I've got like a bunch of kids around me that also have the game that are trading and have other versions. Guess I'm just out of luck.
There was only one regional dex I completed, and that was because I had to be able to use the migration broom, whatever it's called in Gen 4.
Oh god, that was so stupid.
That's cruel.
Yeah.
Okay, to clarify, you don't have to catch every Pokemon in the regional dex. You just have to encounter everyone. I was talking about, like, have you ever caught all of the Pokemon in a regional Pokedex?
I don't think so. I'm a bad Pokemon fan.
Well, I guess that's too bad for you.
Oh, which one did you do?
It was Ruby version.
Okay.
Because I had a good friend in elementary school, who had Sapphire, and we were like super into those games. So yeah, Gen 3, the one that has freaking Feebas and Melodic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you even got Milotic.
Yeah, well, okay, see, I didn't understand how the evolution process worked.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of catching a male Feebas.
Oof.
So I couldn't, and Ditto wasn't in Ruby and Sapphire, so I couldn't breed it with anything.
Wait. Oh.
And I accidentally gave it the wrong kind of Pokeblocks and saved. Because I was just like, any rare candy now, he'll evolve.
Why isn't he evolving?
And
I ended up
level 98. Any level now.
So after all that work, I ended up having to just trade a Melodic from one of my other friends, who incidentally had already completed his Pokedex. So that's the one time I ever did it.
Doesn't that feel fun?
I'm glad they switched that over to a trade item.
Yeah, thank God.
That's probably the most egregious evolution method outside of Melmetal.
Melmetal?
Yeah,
the new thing from Pokemon Go.
Yeah, you can only evolve him in Pokemon Go.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to, and it's 400 candies.
Jesus
so you have to, like, every weekend for,
God.
2 months.
That
to grind.
sucks.
Yeah. So it's an achievement to get Melmetal.
Trey, let me ask you this. Can you buy candies with real money?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if there's a Pokemon that you have to pay real money to evolve, like, we have crossed the line officially.
Well, you can buy lures and stuff. To increase the encounter rate of Pokemon.
The other stupid thing about Melmetals. Sorry to interrupt. The other stupid thing about Melmetals is you have to unlock this box whenever you link to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. and you can only use the box once a week to be able to encounter Meltans. So you can't just grind Meltans at all times. It has to be once a week.
In classic mobile game fashion.
Uh-huh. There's gotta be another way. But hey, he's a legendary steel type. Woohoo!
Whoa.
I actually do like the design of those Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Truth be told.
I hope they are able to be encountered in the wild somehow. In not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield.
Yeah. Yeah, is Melmetal a Gen 8 Pokemon? Like, how do they classify that thing?
Because, like, in the decks, he's either 0 or, like, 252 in the Kanto decks for Let's Go.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to do that for the actual Pokedex.
Weird.
Speaking of which, let's go to the next episode.
I know. Well, Catch Quest will continue in part 19.
Oh, I can't wait.
See y'all then.
Eh.
Just kidding.